I made my manager's ugly baby uglier, by user Double Dandelion. Years ago, I worked for a large retail chain under your typical promoted because he's one of the boys' manager. He didn't do much that actually needed doing in our department, and even foisted things like employee reviews, product resets and counts, etc. off on me. He mostly hung out shooting the shit with his buddies and chatting with customers, although he didn't sell much because he always tried to push everyone towards the highest end product even if a more moderate one would suit the customers better. The company rewarded him with prizes like trips and gadgets for our high sales. Sales that I largely made, with a team I trained. And then he would brag about all the cool stuff he got. I didn't like him much. One thing he loved talking about constantly was his baby, maybe 9 months old. He even made a picture of the little tyke the wallpaper on our display computer. I get being a proud papa, but on top of me already being annoyed with him for being a shitty boss, his baby was weird looking. Nothing was wrong with the baby health-wise, but it was bug-eyed and big-headed like its daddy. This was especially highlighted because babies are already naturally a little like that, and this kid was like if Megamind fucked a pug. And I had to look at a picture of it all day, and all the customers saw it. So I went into a photo editing software and increased the size of the kid's eyes by about another 10%. Not enough for daddy to notice, but enough that it was startling if you were seeing the picture for the first time. Uncanny Valley vibes. People would subtly react when bossman showed them the picture and talk about the kid. Like they wanted to say something, but absolutely knew they should not. It was small, it was petty, and I still giggle about it years later. Hopefully the kid grew up to look like mama. Last minute mandatory Saturday training? Fine, but you're gonna feel that mileage, by user Magic Manic Panic. 15 years ago I worked at a company that had regular mandatory training courses throughout the year. They always gave us plenty of notice and we, co-workers, would usually carpool together to make the 1-hour drive less boring, and it also saved the company money as they paid for mileage. There would be 5 employees in one vehicle, which was fine. But after a few years, the company became really concerned with their profit and seemed to no longer care about the employees. So one day, they decided that employees had a mandatory training, but it was the following day, a Saturday, with not even 24 hours notice. They didn't care that we all had plans and families, the training was mandatory. So I went to every employee and shared my concern that the training tomorrow was way too short notice to carpool. I made sure we were all aware that it was too late to arrange a carpool for the 1-hour drive. We would all have to drive ourselves. So the next day, 45 employees drove their own vehicle to the training. The parking lot was full and some had to park in an overflow area or on the street. The admins were livid on Monday when they got 45 mileage sheets turned in and found out how expensive a last-minute mandatory training could be. My cousin's revenge baby announcement. Cross-post by user No Fun Here Movie Along. My cousin was married just over a year ago, and unfortunately one tone-deaf self-centered friend and their girlfriend used the opportunity to stage a proposal. They were already engaged but planned this proposal event when they saw and liked the venue, which they wouldn't be able to afford for their own wedding. When this plan came to light, they were politely but firmly asked not to do it, but main character alert, I guess. They were absolutely obnoxious about it too, stopping the reception to call a toast to themselves, and ordering everyone off the dance floor so they could have a proposal dance. Now their wedding is approaching. And my cousin is pregnant. And she has plans for her baby announcement that may just coincide with the wedding time and place. And we have a couple of close friends who know about this and are planning on bringing baby shower gifts. Cousin has too much class to entirely take over the wedding, but revenge will be had. Left the boot of an Uber open after driver treated me and my family with contempt, by user throwaway name 46. I was looking for an Uber Premium to schlep 3 adults and 2 kids to the airport, along with an assortment of luggage. The driver showed up in a small vehicle and refused to admit that he cheated me by registering his stinking small vehicle as a premium. He did the bare minimum to figure out how everything will fit together, and while we were very uncomfortable, he had the audacity to stop the vehicle for gas shortly before we reached the airport. At the end of the trip, he kept inside the car and looked the other way while I got down and got all my luggage out. While leaving, I decided not to shit the boot. Walking away, I turned around to stare at him and gloat that he had to step out of his shitty vehicle to close it. Totally worth the 1 star. Edits: 1. Shut * the boot, laughing face. 2. XL wasn't available. 3. One of the 5 pass angers was a 10-month-old baby. 4. This didn't happen in the US. Here in the East we have different norms and different Uber experience. But petty revenge brings the same kind of joy, laughing face. Edit, surprised about the amount of hate. I take comfort in the fact that my writer rating is 4.77, so maybe I am not as much a total piece of shit human and entitled asshole as this thread wants me to believe. Please comment on my behavior if yours is 4.78 or above. Ex-friend treats me like shit, loses his event pass, by user fresh_distribution 54. This is a petty revenge between me and I now ex-friend of mine. For the purpose of the story, he is a male a few years younger than me but we are both in our 30s. I'm just going to call the event because I don't want any negativity towards said event because I love it. Ex-friend is the kind of guy who sleeps with as many women as humanly possible, and if they are married or otherwise taken, the better, is incapable of talking about anything other than sex, and spends all of his time at clubs drinking and doing drugs. He wasn't like that when I met him, which is the only reason we were friends at the time. Fast forward to about a little over a year ago. We both go to this event. Hotel accommodations were made but he fucked me over with them because I was the only female he's ever known that he hasn't had sex with and that makes it uncool. He can't have me meeting his male friends so he gave my spot to his most recently acquired sex friend. To top matters, after I made my own last-minute accommodations, I saw him at event and tried to say hi. He was with a few of his male friends. He immediately told me to fuck off and stop bothering him and I was so damn clingy and needy. I saw him in person maybe 2 times a year and texted him on the phone maybe less than once a month for a couple of minutes. This of course made all of his male friends laugh. Later during event, I found him by himself and I approached him and told him it was not cool what he did in front of his friends. I understood that I was a responsible woman unlike his other female sex partners and that maybe he felt he had to present himself in a certain way in front of his friends but I expected an apology. Maybe I was out of line. Maybe I wasn't but wasn't the first time he treated me like this and we were already on edge. He basically told me to bugger off because he didn't have time to listen to my whiny little bitch complaints and that I needed to get over him. That was the last time I saw him at event. Didn't talk to him for a year. Now fast forward again to event version 2023. Now I work security at event. Lo and behold, he shows up with all of his friends. I hadn't even thought about it but the opportunity was right there. I charged him with harassment, unruly behavior, and carrying open alcohol in an area where it wasn't allowed. Okay. So he hadn't actually done those things in front of me that year but I'd seen him do them multiple times in previous years, and I'd seen him get warned by security in previous years. Once he even posted on social media how they got kicked out of their hotel for their behavior but they stayed for event and just drove each day, 4-day event. His event ticket was immediately revoked before he even got in. Since he had already redeemed it however, he was not refunded. As I assume he was staying in a hotel with his friends as well he didn't get that refund either because the hotel was still used. That means he was out several $100s and missed the entire weekend. What he doesn't know is that I will be working security as well next year and probably the year after that and the year after that and the year after that.